Well, let's be honest. What else could possibly be said in this moment other than Merry Christmas? Merry Christmas. It is a day of joy, of hope, of celebration. And I am so excited to share it with each and every one of you this day. Truth be told, this is our 7th service this week. So if my voice sounds a little gravelly, you can understand why. And there is so much fun to have been had this week between pageants and lessons and carols and vigil services. But truthfully, I have always found that there's something about Christmas Day and this time that we share together right now so special. Because perhaps on this day, more than possibly any else in this lead up to Christmas, this day remembers the truth of what this is all really about. As our gospel puts it, we are being brought good news of great joy for all people. That joy is how the Word of God, that was and is God, was made flesh and dwelt among us. And it's so important that we, especially here in the church, remember what this day is about, because it can be overlooked, right? And I don't just mean in the secular sense, right? There's Santa and presents. You go down Rodeo Drive, there's so many lights, it lights up the whole neighborhood. Not just talking about that. But I'm talking about how even we in the church can often overlook what this is all about. There's a phrase that some of you may have heard before if you grew up in maybe different denominations or just have been around a little while. It's been popularized by a lot of churches, saying that we Christians are to be Easter people, right? Maybe you've heard that. We're a resurrection people. We're Easter people. And you know, there's this emphasis. It's all about that Jesus has died for you. Well, like the angels, I've got good news for you, my friends. Not only did you get to church on Christmas Day, but you got yourself to an Episcopal church on this day. And Episcopalians may be a couple things, but one thing we are in particular is we are a Christmas people. And not just because we love the ribbons or the poinsettias and all the carols and great stuff, but because we, like Mary, hold close in our hearts the truth of this day. Don't get me wrong. We're all about the resurrection. New life is where it is at, and we thank God for Christ's death and resurrection. But as Episcopalians, and dare I say, perhaps what all Christians should focus on is not just that Christ came and died for us, but that we lift up the fact that Christ came and lived for us. Think about what that means. What the angels are making known in our gospel today, that God has come down to live and dwell amongst us so that we would know him and he would know us. That he would humble himself to the most vulnerable, helpless thing in the world, an infant child. And through this, he would know our pains. He would know our struggles, our joys, our hopes, and would understand you and me. And yet at the same time, we are able to know who he is and who we are meant to be. That we could say, we know we should care for the sick, for the poor, for the needy, because God did. That we should love our neighbor, all of our neighbors. That we ought to do anything at all because God did in the person of Jesus. That the God found in a manger in Bethlehem over 2,000 years ago is not one who's checking to see if you're on the naughty or nice list. He's not a bearded man in the sky looking down to make sure you're being a good boy or a good girl. And he's not some conquering God who demands that you follow that religion or else. Instead, the God found in that manger is the one that loves you. He is the God that if you were the only person to have ever lived on this earth, would have been born here again to know and be in relationship with you. This God who amidst the silent nights of our lives, the uncertain moments, the bleak winter seasons of our lives, breaks through with an infant's cry. And that cry lights the world amidst so much darkness. That is the good news that was felt in Bethlehem, and that cry still rings out to us, a church in Beverly Hills today. We have officially begun the Christmas season. Everybody know that? The 12 days start now. But even after it is all said and done, the trees go away, the lights come down, Christmas doesn't have to end. The Christmas story and the truth of the fact that God knows us, and by it we know who we are because of whose we are, can be lived out each and every day. We can bring the good news like the angels to the shepherds. We can sit like Mary, treasuring the truth of God's immense love for us in our hearts and in our minds. And we can find this God of love, this God born to us in a manger and born even still right here in our hearts this very day. My friends, may we always be a Christmas people. Merry Christmas.